Just the other day, Sega graced us with what I thought was an amazing trailer. Really got me excited, where they showcased some new games that they were working on of old titles that they've kind of neglected over the years. Shinobi, a new Golden Axe, new Streets of Rage, Jet Set Radio, and more. And it looks like we may have some hints as to other games that they possibly are working on. They have these trademarks that were they put the application in on the 6th of December, so just like a week ago, and now they are public. So, I mean, you could take of this as you will. They're just basic filings. There's no real details to each one, but we know what the titles are. Altered Beast. I always kind of liked Altered Beast. I don't think it was my favorite Sega game at all, nowhere near it, but I do have nostalgia for it. I remember that was like one of the first Sega games that I've played on the Genesis anyway. I remember a friend. I didn't have a Sega Genesis back in the day, but I had a friend who did. And I remember Altered Beast was one of those games that just the atmosphere of it, the music, the tone, like the gameplay was okay, but it just still it kind of grabbed me and always stuck in my brain. So Altered Beast is one that they put out. And the reason we're seeing all this is because Gamatsu, they put out each one of these filings, and then it kept expanding. Eternal Champions as well. Eternal Champions game on Sega Genesis, Sega CD. This is a game that definitely has deserved a comeback. It really does, but I'm always very, especially nowadays with fighting games, I'm kind of wary. I don't like the idea of like, oh, there's no more secrets in fighting games. There's no more secret characters that you can unlock. You have to pay for everything, like piecemeal. Each individual, a new wave of DLC, different seasons. Very wary with fighting games. It's like when a fighting game comes out, it's like, do you buy it? Unless, like, if you're in the tournament scene, it makes sense you buy it. If you're casual, maybe it's best to wait until like the ultimate version with all the DLC comes out. I don't know, but I'm excited to see what they do with Eternal Champions if they do anything with it. But this is another filing that they have. And then they also filed for Jet Set Radio. Kid Chameleon, not one of my most familiar games with Sega, but I do know the Kid Chameleon game, just never really stuck with me. But that's another one they put out there. What else did they have? So Jet Set Radio, Altered Beast, Eternal Champions, and then they expanded on it. Alex Kidd, you got a filing for Alex Kidd? That could be pretty sweet. Depending on how they go about it. Afterburner, Afterburner is one that there. Some of these games they have made like versions of, like PS2 era, PS3 era, that kind of thing. Afterburner Climax, I remember, was pretty fun on the PS3. But to see them possibly doing something with a new Afterburner, that could be pretty awesome. What else did they have on here? House of the Dead. There was like, some of these games, like House of the Dead, Streets of Rage, they've had other companies produce games on these. I don't know. Like, I didn't play the House of the Dead remake that came out. Kind of heard wonky things about it. But it was a game I always loved playing in the arcade, and then on the Sega Dreamcast. Even the Saturn version of the first House of the Dead was awesome. What else they have? Outrun. Outrun definitely deserves some love. Outrun's a classic. And there's been various ones. We sit here and say some of these franchises have been neglected. I think some of these Sega franchises, they've been neglected, but not to the degree of other properties out there. It's just, it's been a while type of thing. It hasn't been like since the 16-bit, 32-bit era. It's been a couple generations ago that some of these games have been, kind of forgotten about, games on the PSP, that kind of thing. It's been a little while. Shinobi, Streets of Rage, and another Super Monkey Ball. I always like Super Monkey Ball. We got remakes of Super Monkey Ball, so that's kind of cool. But this stuff, it can be a little concerning if they're really working on some of these games. I mean, we know for sure Shinobi, which I thought looked cool. Crazy Taxi could be awesome. The other games that they mentioned, Jet Set Radio, Golden Axe. Really curious to see, that Golden Axe come to, fruition. How they're going to deal with that. Looked like kind of almost like what was that game? Why can't I think of it? Damn it. Gauntlet. Like it kind of, with the 3D perspective. Do you remember the 3D Gauntlet that came out? Kind of reminds me of that a little bit, just the little tease that we got. But because it's stuck in my head that like, is it going to be set up like that, like stage by stage, you're going through, or is it going to be more open world exploration? Really curious to see how they go about that. But the one concern I have is and some people brought this up to me recently, is the Super Game Project, which I remember hearing about this when they first were talking about it, and this is going back like over the past year or so. There's been mumblings of this Super Game Project, and how there's been a bunch of different years thrown out there: 2024, 2025, 2026. This big budget set of games, right? And some people think some of these announcements are part of this. But I'm curious to see with the Super Game Project, because if this is going to incorporate any of these recent games that they announced in the trailer, I'm a little cautious here. See what they do with it, because I was going through trying to figure out, because I've heard things about NFTs, cryptocurrency, all sorts of crazy things, and how Sega has some kind of NFT that they filed for in Japan or something. So it got me a little cautious on what are these games really going to be incorporating, right? So it says, while we're still not really sure what the project will end up being, we know that it won't be a single upcoming game, but several, with Utsumi initially stating that the Super Game Project will involve numerous AAA titles that cross over Sega's comprehensive range of technologies, adding that they'll go beyond the traditional framework of games. So this is an article on Tech Radar, and it's a quote coming from Video Game Chronicles. Then they say, now in a recently published annual report, Utsumi was able to provide an update for the first title within Sega's Super Game Project. It's still not clear as to what this will be. This article is from about a month ago, before this trailer came out. So it's a fairly recent article, but this was, a month before that trailer came out. So who knows? It's still not clear as to what it'll be, but Utsumi stated that the company is making steady headway in the development of the Super Game, and that we are seeking to create in the medium to long term. He added, as the name implies, a super game involves the concept of a game that stands head and shoulders above normal games. What the hell does that entail? He says that Sega plans to create a game that builds a whole world view involving the entire gaming ecosystem, including not only players, but also streamers who stream the game and their viewers. I like to stream on occasion. If you could stream a game that incorporates your viewers, which we've done, like we've played some multiplayer games, like, hey, jump into this game. Here's the lobby, here's the invite code. We've played a lot of different things over the years and have had a lot of fun. And that's like a simple thing to do with certain games. But if this is something that's like built around that, you could be kind of pushing some people away who don't get involved in streaming, who don't watch streamers play games. I would hope if there's some kind of incorporation of where you can have, streamers and viewers kind of collide into, a game and cooperate or compete type of thing, that it's done in a way that's not excluding, gamers who aren't involved in that kind of thing, right? Like that's just kind of part of the package, not the entire package. Like you could still go about things other ways. Who knows how they'll go about it? They state that the Super Game Project won't bear fruit until the first fiscal year ending March 2026. So this is a while away. Some of these other games people are thinking are coming out in 2024 next year. Looks like they've made some, progress with them, showing the games in that trailer, but they still could be a while away. I don't know if they're going to be coming out next year, but with stuff like that, NFTs, crypto, who knows, man. This streamer thing, I could be cool with that, just depending on how it's incorporated. But we'll have to see. Let me know what you guys think on this entire thing. I'm excited for Sega coming back, bringing all these franchises back. Like I said, some of these filings that we're looking at: House of the Dead, Afterburner, Alex Kidd, Kid Chameleon, Eternal Champions, Altered Beast. They're just filings. Sometimes filings lead to nothing. But it could, also be a hint as to what's to come with the Super Game Project or just Sega in general. So let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. Bye.